What's up, fuckers, and welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K22 Next Gen. Today, we're going to be doing the other side of the potential Kevin Durant trade to the Boston Celtics. I gave a lot of my thoughts in yesterday's video on this deal. I'm obviously a diehard Celtics fan. I do not want this trade to happen, but we did the KD side on the Celtics. It's only fair that we now do the Jaylen Brown side for the Brooklyn Nets. We obviously do not know what the exact trade is going to look like. We all have a pretty basic understanding of what we think it could be. I'm actually putting through the exact same trade for the Nets, which I did yesterday for the Celtics, just so it's completely fair on both sides. Don't want to give either team the upper edge here. Don't want anybody getting upset. So we put through that trade. I'll show you guys it in just a second. My initial thoughts on this trade for both sides would be I don't think Brooklyn's getting a better player in return for Kevin Durant than Jaylen Brown, at least from what I've been seeing and what I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing. That being said, I'm sure alongside Jaylen Brown, the picks really matter and the other potential players matter as well. So I'll show you guys that in just a second. And finally, last, and as always, if you guys are new around here, could do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 30K, and I greatly do appreciate each and individual one of you guys that does support me on a daily basis. You guys get any other video ideas, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. There's going to be a 3-year rebuild once again. Not a 5-year rebuild, but we will be hopping back into those very shortly once we do complete a couple more rebuilds after this one. But without further ado, man, Jaylen Brown, Brooklyn Nets rebuild. Let's get into it. So here's what the trade looks like, the exact same one that I did in yesterday's video when I did the Celtics side of this. It was Kevin Durant for Jaylen Brown at Derek White, a 2024 first. I tried to make it a 2025 swap. It wasn't having it. The game just wasn't doing it for some reason. And then a 2026 first round pick as well. So obviously 3 first round picks. Might not seem like a lot when you look at what somebody like Rudy Gobert got. He went, what, 5-6 first-round picks? Whatever it was, they're talking about crazy numbers for potentially Donovan Mitchell all the way up to like 7. So 3 first-round picks for Kevin Durant sounds really, really low, if we're being honest. And yeah, it might be. Maybe the Celtics hypothetically would have to give maybe 4 or 5. Do I think they give up 6 or 7? Not a god's chance in hell. And the reason I only gave up 3 today is for a couple reasons. Number 1 being it's all I had access to. And number 2 being that they're getting a much better player in return than anything that the Jazz got for Rudy Gobert, or that I'm assuming the Jazz would get for Donovan Mitchell. Jaylen Brown's an all-star. He was just the best player on the team that lost the finals. So it sucks to say, but I think this is not the craziest, most unrealistic trade package. I also know the Nets, for some reason, really want Marcus Smart. It's crazy how much everybody calls Marcus Smart overrated, and then all of a sudden that, you know, you don't want him included in a trade package, and all of a sudden he's the next best thing. So I just found that funny. You can ignore this. It's because I had to put TJ Warren on the actual Brooklyn Nets. He signed with them in the offseason. He's obviously been injured, really cheap contract. Kind of a prove-it year, if you will, and then I put through the Royce O'Neal trade as well. So you can ignore it was for a second-round pick. It was just because TJ Warren asks for $20+ million, and I did not obviously have the money to do that. So let's take a look at this roster right now. Obviously, Kyrie Irving ended up opting into his player option. Kind of a shocking move. I know a lot of people potentially thought that he would just go and sign somewhere else. Unfortunately, kind of the landscape of the NBA this offseason, not a ton of teams really had the cap space, or not a ton of teams that Kyrie would probably want to play for, had the cap space to go ahead and outright just sign him. So what he did instead, he opted into that player option. The trade rumors are still floating around with him. Who knows what's going to happen, but if they move Kevin Durant, oh, god damn it, Call of Duty just updated. If they move Kevin Durant, it's possible. Who knows what they're going to do with him? I know the quote came out that said he could be in Brooklyn whether they trade KD or not. I'll be interested to see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen past this year, so we will see. Patty Mills ended up re-signing with this team on a 2-year contract. He actually declined his player option. I thought he would maybe go somewhere else, but maybe he just couldn't get this much money somewhere else. So he's back in Brooklyn now. Derek White obviously came over in the hypothetical Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant trade. We got Seth Curry here as well. I'm super excited to use him today. Again, I think if Brooklyn kind of blows it up, goes ahead and trades KD, trades Kyrie Irving, I think Seth Curry could actually probably get some pretty decent value. Obviously a really good shooter, could be a good bench piece for a lot of teams. Cam Thomas here, who actually developed super, super well in this game. I'm excited to try to maximize that potential as much as I can. They also signed Edmund Summer this year, in this past offseason, on a 2-year contract. Just the depth piece for me, at least in today's rebuild. The small forward spot, obviously Mr. Jaylen Brown. I love him. Every Celtics fan on the planet loves him. I don't want him to be traded. I'm actually excited to really use him today. He can hopefully kind of lead this team. I mean, I know Kyrie Irving's obviously still here, but who knows what's going to happen past this first season. TJ Warren on a really cheap contract. He's still an 82 overall. He probably won't be near that at the start of 2K23. He obviously has had an injury concern. bubble TJ Warren was just so different and so awesome to see, man. But yeah, it's a good kind of prove it deal, if you will, here. There's some depth here. Obviously, Joe Harris is still a piece here as well. Was injured a lot, I believe, last season. Maybe not a lot, but he was definitely injured for a decent portion of last season. I don't believe he played at all in the playoff run against the Celtics when they got swept, but obviously really good shooter on the older side. We'll see. Royce O'Neal, I was a little bit confused about this trade. I didn't really understand what Brooklyn was doing. I mean, it was like bang, bang. It was like Kevin Durant has requested out of Brooklyn. And then I got the notification like 2 minutes later. The Brooklyn Nets have traded a first-round pick to the Utah Jazz for Royce O'Neal. I was like, what in the world are you doing? Like, I just didn't get that one. They also came to a contract with Kessler Edwards. It's a team option for the next season. Ben Simmons, I moved into the power forward spot. That's where I'm going to be playing him. I have no idea what Brooklyn's going to end up doing with him ultimately, but I'm not going to have him off the bench, especially when I really lack a backup or a starting four even. So Ben Simmons is going to be playing power forward for me here today. I don't mind him there. Obviously a great defender at 1 through 5, all positions. Not so much a good shooter, a good floor spacer. So I'm excited. He can obviously be a playmaker for us as well. We'll see what ends up happening there. Nick Claxton came to an agreement with the Nets as well. Excited to have him here. Nice young center. Really think that potential is pretty high. They got Teron Sharp down here as well. So that kind of goes over the entirety of the roster here for the Brooklyn Nets. We're obviously not making any trades. Hypothetically, maybe I could trade Kyrie Irving, but in today's unrealistic rebuild, man, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of have it a little bit of fun. It's not every day I get to use Kyrie, so we're going to run it back with him. Hopefully he'll want to re-sign here after a season, but this is hopefully a playoff team. I mean, this is a pretty good and honestly a pretty deep squad as well. So let me set the rotation. We'll get into it before we do start simming year number 1. We are all set here at the start of year number 1 in Brooklyn. Mr. Kyrie Irving going to be our starting point guard. No surprise there. Again, maybe some of you would want me to trade him, kind of spice up the rebuild a little bit more. We'll see. I have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe we'll do a sign and trade with the Lakers this offseason or something like that. I'm starting Seth Curry at the shooting guard spot because I do believe we do need the shooting when you have a guy like Simmons and a guy like Claxton as your starting front court. Bring in as much shooting as you want. I mean, obviously Kyrie, Curry, and Jaylen Brown are all really good shooters. So hopefully it kind of balances out a little bit. And obviously Mr. Jaylen Brown here as well. Really honestly hurts me to see him in another team's uniform. You got Ben Simmons here starting at the 4. I don't know if he's going to be here the entire video. He ends up actually developing pretty well. He actually turns into like a 90-plus overall. So we'll see what happens there. And Nick Claxton, obviously our starting center. The bench unit, I'm going to roll with TJ Warren here as the 6th man. Obviously, I don't know what his exact role will be in Brooklyn. He's probably going to play technically the backup 4 for Simmons just because we have somebody like Joe Harris as the backup 3 for Jaylen Brown. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of forwards, a lot of wings on this team, if you will. I don't think he'll probably have the 6-man role, especially coming back from an injury, but who knows. You got Derek White here as well, who, again, might be in this trade, might not be. It depends, hypothetically, if they really, really wanted Marcus Smart, he could be here instead. But I'm going to roll with this. Derek White's going to be the backup here at the shooting guard spot. I like him off the bench a little bit more. Get a little bit of defense in there, and I know it's tough to say after some of his finals performances. But, Derek White's very hit or miss in my experience as a Celtics fan, his time here. Got Cam Thomas here as well. So we're actually rolling with 3 shooting guards right now, and they're all playing very different roles, and they're all in the lineup for very different reasons. Cam Thomas is in here to develop him, and we'll probably figure out what we're going to do with Curry and Derek White this upcoming offseason. We got Joe Harris here as well, and then Teron Sharp is playing 10 minutes as the backup center. So that's how it's going to look here for Steve Nash's first season under our helm, our realm, whatever you want to really call it here. But this is a good squad. I'm hoping we can be a playoff team, but again, only time will tell. See you guys at the end of the first year here in Brooklyn. It was a subpar first season for us here in Brooklyn. We are the 12th seed here in the Eastern Conference. Maybe I was a little bit too, I don't know, out of my mind, for lack of a better term, thinking this was a playoff team, but I thought the potential was there. I mean, we had a really good trio, I would imagine, of Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, and Ben Simmons, so we just couldn't get it done ultimately. We're not in the playoffs. We're not in the play-in. It sucks. It's the truth of the matter. Luka Doncic, MVP. Surprise, I know. Chet Holmgren, your Rookie of the Year. Trae Young, 6th man. You can ignore that. Giannis, the Defensive Player of the Year. Nick Claxton actually wins Most Improved. Really like to see that. If he can maintain those numbers, I'd like him to be my starting center for the entirety of this video. Is he really a 39% three-point shooter? Holy shit. Is he really? Huh. I'm actually going to look that up. I might have, I didn't necessarily chirp him, but, when I think of good three-point shooting big men, I think of the Nikola Jokic's of the world and guys like that. I don't think Nick Claxton's name would come to mind. Maybe I got that one wrong. My bad. And Willie Green is your Coach of the Year. There's a Nick Claxton comment saying he can shoot. My bad. I apologize. Let's get into the offseason because this was not a good first regular season for us here. We finished with a record of 32-50. Wow. I thought this team was more talented than 32-50, but unfortunately we were not Kyrie led us in scoring. I'm going to have to big decision on what we're going to do with him. I'm not just going to let him go for nothing. It's either going to be a sign and trade or I'm going to re-sign him out fully. This, again, not a realistic rebuild. I might try to do with the Lakers deal just to make it fun. Even with that, we might have to include a third team. That can be a whole headache itself. Jaylen Brown, our second leading scorer, the guy, we're obviously going to be building around him for this rebuild, especially if Kyrie's gone. Ben Simmons. Cameron Thomas, really solid first season here for us in this rebuild anyways. TJ Warren, not too bad. He's obviously now a free agent. You can see he is triggered under his relations. Oh boy. Nick Claxton, Derek White, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Duron Sharp. Got Kessler Edwards down there as well. Rebounds per game was Simmons, and assists was also Ben Simmons. So let's simulate the playoffs. You got the one-seeded Pelicans, one-seeded Hawks there. Kevin Durant and the Celtics, let's see how they do. They are going to the NBA Finals, and they lose to the Pelicans. Oh, man, you can't make it up. I want to do like a 5-year Pelicans rebuild soon just so I can use Zion and kind of get that hype beast experience. It's been a minute since I've been able to do that. So, all right, let's hit the draft lottery. Who has our pick? It's the Houston Rockets. That really sucks. I don't know what the swap is on that or what the protection is on that. The Jazz actually have our pick because it's from the deal. I think it's actually the lesser of the two that the Jazz are supposed to have. I'm pretty sure the Hornets, or the Rockets just have it, but we obviously don't have it. So that does suck, no matter which way you look at it. Steve Nash, I'm going to move on from him, man. I don't think Steve Nash is a good head coach in real life. I don't think he's a good head coach in this game. We're going to bring in Stafford. Quite literally, cannot get better than that. So, do we have any later first-round picks or maybe even a second-round pick that I could use? We do have number 6 in round number 2. That is not too bad. This is probably going to be the part of the unrealistic rebuild that we get into because, we're not going for a 12 seed again next year. Let's get into some trades. The Houston Rockets have the number 4 overall pick. I would very much like to move into the top 5. We're going to see if they're interested in Derek White for whatever reason and see if we can get that number 4 overall pick. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of guys under contract right now. Like, it's pretty much Derek White and Joe Harris that I'd be willing to trade. So let's go ahead and see if we can maybe move up and somehow get that 4th overall pick. I think it'd be really nice. We obviously don't have a ton of future picks to be able to trade. Wait, do I have anybody else under contract? You can have Edmund Summer if you're interested. Wow, they agreed to that. All right, so we don't even have to give up one future first-round pick. We got rid of some players that, if I'm being honest with you, probably really weren't going to play for me anyway. So we look at the scouting. Obviously got Victor here. You got Scoot Henderson. Both are guys that I would obviously love to have, but I think we're probably more in the realm of possibility maybe with somebody like a Keontae George or an Amari Bailey. I like Cam Thomas a lot. I would not mind starting him. We're just going to see how everything ends up falling into place and where everybody ends up playing. So we're going to roll with the punches right now. We are going to go ahead and we are going to use the number 4 overall pick in this draft. And let's see who's available for us. Keontae George is here. When you look at the summary so far, it was Victor, Scoot Henderson, and then Amari Bailey did go number 3 overall. He's from UCLA. Where is Keontae George from? He's from Baylor. Okay. I don't know this draft class. I'm not going to pretend I do. Well, you know what? What I'm actually going to do right now is I'm going to look at a mock draft for 2023 to see who the highest rated prospects are because I know people get pissed about this. Let me do that. So I've seen 2 now mock drafts that have Nick Smith as the projected 3rd overall pick. I know absolutely nothing about this dude. He's young. We're going to go ahead and we are going to draft him. We need a shooting guard. We're going to go ahead and take him. I know nothing about him. The draft boards had him ranked very highly. He's a 75 overall here, so he's not the highest overall. But I'm fine with that. We're getting maybe into some more realistic picks, if you will. So he's going to be our pick there at number 4. Cam Thomas obviously coming back. That's going to probably be our 2 shooting guards. We're going to bring back Duron Sharp as well. This is an unrealistic rebuild, so I'm going to bring back everybody and then maybe hopefully get a couple more first-round picks throughout this rebuild. I think that would be fun. So we enter free agency. Obviously, Kyrie Irving is here. Doesn't really have any real contracts so far. I mean, unless you're including the one maybe from the Pistons right now. But I'm definitely not just going to let him go. I'm going to give him a contract, and then we're going to decide whether we want to trade him or whether we want to keep him. But if you look at the roster right now, it's not great, if we're being honest with you right now. So O'Neal is probably going to go. I actually wouldn't mind Kessler Edwards to be the backup here for Jaylen Brown, so I might go ahead and keep him. But hopefully Royce O'Neal can get me a first-round pick. Let me see right now. I'm really excited to see what Nick Smith can do for us here, man. So first-round pick, it's actually 2 picks from the Cleveland Cavaliers. One might be a protection backup. That's a Hornets protected pick. They actually turned out to be pretty good just because LaMelo Ball turns into an absolute stud. That Spurs pick could be valuable, in 2 years. So we're going to take that Spurs pick. We are going to re-sign Kyrie Irving. I'm not just going to let the dude walk. I think it would be dumb. Obviously, if I was to do a sign and trade, the deal would have to look different than this. We're just going to bring him in. Who knows if we're going to trade him or not. I will make that decision eventually. Seth Curry, I want to bring him back. We just don't need him. You know, we got Cam Thomas. We got Nick Smith. I'm going to let Seth Curry go, and that sucks to say because I like Seth Curry a lot. TJ Warren is ultimately gone. He really didn't seem happy with his role anyways, and I'm not going to pay him the money he's going to require here in 2K. So Kyrie's back. That's obviously a big free agent signing. We're going to probably go ahead. I'm going to glance at some trade offers, and then I'll see you guys with whatever we end up doing with Kyrie Irving. I couldn't really find a Kyrie Irving trade that I really wanted to do. I mean, there really isn't one that I want to do, if I'm being honest with you. I want to play with Kyrie Irving. It's not, that's a little weird. I want to use Kyrie Irving in today's rebuild is a better way to phrase that. It's not every day I get to have Kyrie on one of my teams. So we're going to sign Larry Nance Jr. He's going to be my backup power forward behind Ben Simmons. Kyrie is probably going to be here for the remainder of the video. If you want me to do a trading Kyrie Irving rebuild, I've gotten requests to do a Kyrie Lakers rebuild. I can do that very, very shortly. Like, hell, I can probably do it tomorrow if you want it. So let me know if anything else you want to see down below in the comment sections. Other than that, this is the team that we are probably going to be going with. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to start Cam Thomas. I know Nick Smith's in here. We just took him 4th overall. I'm going to go with Cameron Thomas. I think, again, I've seen him develop super well. I would really like him to do that in today's video. And other than that, we're going to be in a 9-man rotation. I will sign a backup point guard. Again, it's not going to be anybody that's really going to play. Like, I'll sign a Gabe Vincent. So we just have a backup point guard if we need one. But other than that, we are all set. I will see you guys at the start of year number 2. Year number 2 in Brooklyn. We made the decision to keep Kyrie Irving on this team. He wanted to come back. Who knows why, but he's still here. He got that max contract. I'm excited to have him. It's going to be Kyrie Irving, Cam Thomas. I mentioned earlier. We're rolling with him as our starting shooting guard. He hasn't given me a reason to not start him. Nick Smith still going to play significant minutes off the bench. You can see he's our 6th man here. Mr. Jaylen Brown, would like him to potentially take the next step, maybe a couple more points a game, a couple more assists, a couple more rebounds. I'd love to see that a lot. We got Ben Simmons here as well. And then Mr. Nick Claxton at the starting center spot. The bench unit. Nick Smith is going to be our 6th man. I do want to develop him just in case something doesn't work out with Cam Thomas for whatever reason. But he's going to be here, a 6-man, 22 minutes a night. Followed by Larry Nance Jr. was a free agent signing for us in the offseason. You got Duron Sharp here as well. And then Kessler Edwards backing up Jaylen Brown. So it's a decent bench. It's not the best bench I've ever had. We honestly definitely had a way better bench last year, but I'm very comfortable with this team. I think it looks a lot better than last year. I'm hoping we're in the playoffs this year. Who knows, though? We will see. If not, we're definitely going to have to make some major changes come this offseason. But as of now, we're focused on year number 2. See you guys at the end of it. Joel Embiid finally gets an MVP award. He deserves it. I mean, that's a hell of an insane season right there. We are the 5 seed here in the Eastern Conference, so we are in the playoffs. Not even in the play-in. We are fully in the playoffs, and it makes me very happy. Victor Wembanyama, your Rookie of the Year in Indiana. It's going to be a fun tankathon to watch this upcoming season. NBA tanking is obviously the draft lottery. The worst 3 teams have the same odds at the number 1 overall pick. I think the Spurs are going to be in there. I think the Pacers have a really good shot of being in there. I don't know, man. Victor looks like a generational prospect, and I'm excited to see what ends up happening to him. How is Chet Holmgren a 6th man? What in the name of Jesus Christ is going on? Giannis Defensive Player of the Year. Cam Thomas, most improved. This is why I started this man. 21 points, 4.5 rebounds, almost 3 assists, 1 steal, half a block. That 3-point percentage is not too good. Other than that, though, he played really well for us. Nate McMillan, your Coach of the Year. Jacob Park, I have no idea who you are, but you win Executive of the Year. All right, we are in the playoffs. Obviously, you love to see it. After a year of being a 12 seed, we go 51-31, so we're above my my threshold typically of 50 wins, and you honestly do love to see it. We would have been a 3 seed in the West. It's funny. Numbers on the year. Kyrie leads us in scoring, followed by Jaylen Brown, and then Cam Thomas. So we had 3 guys over 21 points a game. That's awesome to see. You got Ben Simmons in here. You got Nick Smith, who had a really good rookie season off the bench. The man didn't average a single goddamn rebound, but... well, that's tough. Nick Claxton and Duron Sharp, Kessler Edwards. You got Larry Nance Jr. in there as well. Isaiah Thomas off the bench. It's just like an OG reunion. Wow. Can you imagine Kyrie and Isaiah Thomas on the same team? Who, I mean, obviously got traded for each other back when Boston and Cleveland did that deal. Old times, man. Regrettable times. Let's look at the Orlando Magic. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, Mike Conley. Really deep team. Wait, we are not... what the fuck am I doing? I thought we were doing a Celtics rebuild. We got the Pistons here. Oh my God, it's too late to be making a video. Dinwiddie, Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Miles Bridges, Stewart, Sexton, Ivy, Bagley. Another really deep team. Holy shit. I am seriously losing my mind right now. I think it's because I saw Jaylen Brown and like Isaiah Thomas, and I was just thinking Celtics for whatever reason. Are we about to blow a 3-1 lead? Are we fucking kidding me right now? Oh, man. And the Celtics, you want to win the finals. Jason Tatum, your finals MVP. So, KD Gets his first ring, not with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and, you know, the rest of that, all those Hall of Famers. All right, let's hit the draft lottery, see if we got anything. I highly doubt it. I do not see a Nets logo anywhere, so let's sim the lottery. It's going to be the Pelicans. That's exactly what they need. Thunder, Spurs, Heat, and Bulls. I'm surprised that the Heat and the Bulls were so bad. That's interesting. Stauffer's not going anywhere. We're all set with him. So let's see if we do have a first-round pick this year. We actually might have a Celtics pick as well. They obviously just won the finals, so that's not really going to help us out a ton. I will draft somebody in, you know, when we're drafting at number 30, I'm not going to go and look at projected mock drafts for 2024 when we have a pick this late. Again, maybe there's somebody here that's going to be a lot better than somebody else, but who knows. Bob Mason is a 73 overall, or at least that's what our scouting department says. He is 22, so he's on the older side. But we could potentially need a backup center. Who knows what's going to happen with Deron Sharp. If not, we're just drafting best player available or whatever, what appears to be the best player available. So Bob Mason is a 72 overall. Will he play? Probably not, but he's going to be here. And yeah, it's time to make some decisions because this team just got eliminated in the first round after blowing a 3-1 lead, which is obviously not ideal. You got Jaylen Brown here as a free agent. We obviously need him back. It says rebuild. I can give him a no trade clause. He's not going anywhere. Clax, are we serious? Is Nick, why are you... What? Why is Nick Claxton? That's just, it's annoying. So, like, we just lost a center for nothing because 2K is fucking, for lack of a better term, it's fucking idiotic. Like, I don't know why. I know it's something with his shot tendency. It's frustrating. You know what? I'll see if I can play around with it and see if I can actually, he's even on my roster. I can't even edit it right now. So, we lose Nick Claxton for nothing. That sucks. This game is really frustrating sometimes, man. I will tell you, it really is. But, yeah, we are in the mood to go hopefully get a new starting center. Thank God we drafted Bob Mason. Let's make a deal. We're going to do this deal here with the Washington Wizards. We're going to send Ben Simmons that Spurs pick that we traded for last offseason and then our first-round pick. It's a swap with the Houston Rockets for Bradley Beal and Daniel Gafford. Now, let me explain to you my thought process a little bit on this one. We obviously just lost our starting power forward, which really does suck a lot. Gafford's going to be starting at center for us. Bradley Beal is going to be starting at the shooting guard spot for us. He's another star that we really need to add to this team. I like Cam Thomas a lot. I just don't know if he can be a starting shooting guard at the age of 22 on a championship team. So I like him a lot. I wish we could keep him. If this was a 5-year rebuild, hell, I probably would. We're going to trade him now for a starting power forward, so let's make another deal. We're picking up Josh Giddey from the Thunder. We're going to then flip him again just so we can get that trade value up, and maybe we can see what power forward options are here with Josh Giddey. I'm not playing Jaylen Brown at the starting 4. That just doesn't really fit at all. Could go somebody like Cameron Johnson, who honestly wasn't horrible for Cleveland last year. I'd like to be a little bit better on a team that I would hopefully think is going to be close to a championship contender. But let's see. I'm just looking at options right now. Wow, Bronny James is here. I wish. These are not options for a guy who could hopefully be a starting power forward on a championship team. So let me filter. What's he making? Like $8 million bucks, and then we'll go through our options. I'll show you guys. Some of you guys are interested in how I filter these things sometimes. So let's just see some options here for us. So we got somebody like Jonathan Kuminga who balls the fuck out for like God knows what reason. I know he's going to be good, but I think 21 points on a Warriors team that has Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins might be a bit much. You can have as many firsts as it takes. I don't even know if I have the assets to get this done. Wow, they agreed to that. All right, we got Jonathan Kuminga. So our starting 5 is figured out. We obviously need to make sure we get Jaylen Brown back now, which we do. Kessler Edwards, I don't even think we have bird rights on him, but yeah. I think getting Jaylen Brown back is obviously huge. I'll make sure that I don't have bird rights on Kessler Edwards. Even though I wouldn't mind bringing him back. I think he was a good backup for, no, I don't have bird rights on him, for Jaylen Brown. But, yeah, we are probably, the way I think I'm going to do this is I think I'm going to sign a backup power forward. JB won't have a backup because I do want to play Nick Smith more. He can potentially play some backup 3 as well. And then we'll get a backup for Kyrie, who's just getting a little bit on the older side right now. Again, not so old that I don't think he needs a backup, but I'd like to have a backup point guard in here just in case. So let me sign somebody like Kem Birch, whatever his name is. And then we'll go ahead and we need to sign a backup power forward as well. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move Birch and our one remaining second round pick for a point guard. Or actually, I need a power forward as well, correct? Yeah, I do. So let's just actually take Chris Boucher, and then I'll sign a pretty shitty point guard, honestly. Just because I know TJ McConnell is going to regress. That's the thing that really sucks about this. And yeah, we are all settled. So you guys can start a third and final year. Scrap the plan of having a bad backup point guard. I didn't realize Kessler Edwards had a qualifying offer. That's my mistake. So we're going again 9-man rotation. Kyrie just won't have a backup. Kessler Edwards is going to not dramatically improve this bench, but he makes the bench better. So here's how it's going to look. Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal is going to be the backcourt. Again, I made this trade because we were kind of in the middle of nowhere. I like Ben Simmons. He progresses super well. I think he gets shit on way too much in real life. But I think in a team like this, in 2K, this is how you have to do it. So it's going to be Kyrie, Beal, and Jaylen Brown. That's a hell of a big three. You got Kuminga, who just turns into an absolute monster. And then Daniel Gafford, who's not the best starting center option. I don't know if I've had worse, if I'm being honest. But he's an 82 overall. 12 and 8.5 is more than serviceable for a team like this. Bench unit, Nick Smith going to remain our 6-man, followed by Deron Sharp, Kessler Edwards, and Chris Boucher. So bench isn't horrible. It's not too great. I think it's very serviceable. I'm excited to see how this team does, though. We added a guy like Bradley Beal, who is, very, very good at basketball. So let's see what happens. I'll see you guys at the end of the third and final year. It was not a very good third and final season for us here in Brooklyn. We are a 5 seed in the East. Confusing enough, though, we are number 3 in the power ranking. So that maybe gives me some hope for the playoffs. Obviously, we have not been past the first round yet, so it makes me a little bit nervous. But nonetheless, we are in the playoffs. Luka, your MVP. Bronny James, Rookie of the Year. Trae Young, oh my God. Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player. Jason Preston, Most Improved. JB Bickerstaff, your Coach of the Year. So let's take a look at the numbers and the standings first. Again, 51 and 31. So, 51 wins isn't bad. I'm not mad at the win total. I just think this team is better than a 5 seed, if I'm being honest with you. So we'll see how everything ends up playing out in the playoffs. I am excited with this team. I think there is a ton of potential there. We do have the Boston Celtics here in the first round. I finally got our first round matchup right. So, you got KD and Jason Tatum. Obviously, probably one of, if not the scariest duos in the league. And this sucks because I wouldn't be surprised if we lost our first round matchup here. They are both very good basketball players. We're going to Game 7. We are going to Game 7. I don't remember the last time I did a rebuild. I didn't even get out of the first round. And this sucks. It looks like it's what's going to be happening today. Yeah, you know what? It probably is, and that sucks. I failed this rebuild really bad, but I'll get a little bit of gameplay just because why the fuck not at this point. So yeah, it sucks we didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs. I mean, obviously you like to do that at least maybe once throughout a rebuild. No, I mean, my goal is, Marcus Smart's just kicking my ass. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, so this did not go to plan. Obviously, maybe I could have traded Kyrie, got a really good package in return, or I don't really know what I would do different looking back on it. But, I still had a really fun time with this rebuild. Obviously, I still hope that this trade does not happen, like I'm assuming the majority of Celtics fans do. But I still think we made a fun team no matter which way we look at it. Sure, I maybe could have added maybe a little bit more defense, but I don't know, man. I think in a league like this, I think offense wins a lot. So that's my statement on this one anyways. But yeah, I'll give you a couple more thoughts on the trade. I'll look at this from the Nets perspective now. I looked at this from the Celtics perspective the other day. Obviously, me being a Celtics fan and hypothetically one of my favorite players in the league getting traded is not one of my favorite things to have potentially happen to me. But from the Nets perspective, I said this to open this video. I really, really strongly believe that you're not getting that's not what I want to do. I don't believe you're getting a better player back in return for Kevin Durant than you are Jaylen Brown. I just don't think you are. So, obviously, these talks have been reported that they've been leaked back even a few weeks. And who knows if Sean Marks over there in Brooklyn has just been completely metagaming Brad Stevens in Boston and these trade talks. Who knows how far they went? I don't know if Brad Stevens just made an offer and said, what would you think about Jaylen Brown for a potential, oh shit, that sucks, for potentially somebody like Kevin Durant. And again, who knows what happens, but it sucks because hopefully Jaylen Brown is not pissed. I want Jaylen Brown to be a Celtic for life, but looking at this from this perspective, if this trade was to go down or some version of it, you obviously like the draft picks because you get the young players, but you get also an all-star that's 25 years old, and that's not a bad return for a guy who's 33 and wants out of your team. So that's my take on it. I don't think Brooklyn's going to get a better player than this, so if I were them, I would really try to force this deal, but again, I cannot imagine that Brad Stevens is probably too happy here with Sean Marks and the Brooklyn Nets because pissing off probably one of your better players is never a good idea. So we'll do one final possession right now. I'm assuming the lag is going to happen, a little glitch that allows me not to go back to the loading screen. Wow, Robert Williams just baptized Kyrie Irving. I'm not mad that the Celtics are beating us, if I'm being honest with you, as a Celtics fan. I'm really not. I got Brogdon there as well. I'm super excited for this season as a Celtics fan. I'll be excited to see what happens with the Nets and Kyrie Irving especially if Kevin Durant does get traded. Because I think if KD ends up staying, Kyrie's probably definitely not going anywhere. I don't think that would make any sense to trade Kyrie if we're going to keep KD, unless he says 100% he's maybe not re-signing next season or whatever the situation may be. But we'll see. I mean, this Brooklyn Nets team, when healthy, can probably be really good. So we'll see. I'll sim to the end with you guys right now. I'm assuming that we're probably going to get this fun glitch that's going to say that we got eliminated, that I probably cannot get back into my league. And, oh no, we actually did get back. But we did get eliminated, so we'll simulate the rest of the playoffs. And the Detroit Pistons go on to win the finals. Cade Cunningham, your finals MVP. So, yeah, this was a tough one. I didn't even get out of the first round. I still think we made a fun team, and I had fun with it. Again, let me know all and any of your thoughts on this potential trade down below in the comment section. And if you guys want to see a Kyrie Irving Lakers trade or Lakers rebuild, if you want to see a Kevin Durant, I don't even know where else he could go at this point. Maybe the Miami Heat. Let me know all that down below in the comment section, along with any other rebuild ideas. Of course, if you guys are new around here and have not yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video, even though I didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs. I appreciate you guys all. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.